Everyone, Jonathan today coming at you to talk about our fun Fish Fact Friday, Sea Creature Friday, and everything. And today we're going to be exploring the life of the parrotfish. These guys are some of the most colorful and important creatures that we're going to find on our coral ecosystems out there. They're very recognizable. Most people are going to recognize them right from the beginning. When you see a parrotfish, they're pretty distinguishable from their very bright colors to their beak-like mouths with infused together teeth and everything. So overall, they're one of the more important creatures that we get on in our coral reef system and everything. So I'm going to talk a little bit about them. And for our divers that were just down in the Caribbean, down in Cozumel, they probably saw a few of these guys. So let's go ahead and explore the identifying marks, where we can find them, their lifespans, the role in the ecosystem, and some fun facts. So let's go ahead and start exploring this world of the parrotfish. Like I said, most people are going to recognize them right off the bat, and that's because colors, and then they have those a parrot-like beak that has infused teeth. These two teeth that they use, they're going to scrape the algae off of the coral to kind of keep it clean and everything. And then it also kind of digs into the coral skeleton, which is made of calcium carbonate out there. Parrotfish are very famous for how bright of colors they are. You're going to see them in turquoise, pink, green, orange, purple. And a lot of times, as they get older and mature, their colors change over that time. So many of the species of parrotfish out there will end up changing color and changing gender throughout their lives. So let's talk about one in particular, and that's the spotlight parrotfish. These are named for the color patterns that it has. So when it's juvenile, it's kind of a dullish color. And then as they're females, they're more reddish, and scales along their edge are more white and everything. However, the males turn a bright green and blue with striking yellow spots out there. So that's how you'd be able to recognize the spotlight parrotfish and everything. Another thing about identifying parrotfish, they do have large scaly bodies, as you probably notice when you see them. But they have small pectoral fins that they use to glide around and everything. And again, a blunt, rounded head that gives them their unique, friendly appearance. It kind of always looks like they're smiling at you. If you ever look head to head, face to face on them, it's kind of fun. So where are you guys going to find these? Well, as I mentioned earlier, we had some divers down in Cozumel. They probably saw these all over the place. So that means you're going to find them in tropical and subtropical oceans around the world. So a lot of times they're in the Caribbean, Indo-Pacific region, and the Red Sea in particular. And they play an essential role in the health of these ecosystems. Usually you'll find them in between 10 and 100-foot depth. So right inside our recreational dive limits and everything. They do like that shallow, clear waters is where you're going to find them. And most of the time you're going to find them in the coral beds, but you'll find them in the rocky areas too out there. Parrotfish in general are daytime feeders. So they're spending most of their days swimming around, looking for their food and everything. And then at night, they do go to sleep, and they're going to tuck in under coral ledges or crevices inside of the coral reefs. And this is to provide protection for them while they're sleeping out there. One really cool thing, if you're out night diving, you want to look for the parrotfish trapped, and I shouldn't say trapped, but wedged into these crevices or under these ledges, because what they do to also provide protection for them is they secrete a mucus that covers their body, and you can easily see that mucus. It's kind of like a see-through sleeping bag over their eyelids, and this is trapping and hiding their scent from their predators like the moray eels. So it's really cool to see. And so if you can find one at night and you can look and see that mucus over them, that's them sleeping, and that's them protecting themselves while they sleep, so they're not being hunted by their predators. Now, overall, the parrotfish can range in size from the princess parrotfish that grows to about a foot in size, all the way to the green humphead parrotfish, which will be upwards of 4 feet in size and as heavy as 40 pounds. So those are massive, massive fish out there. Um, and you can tell they're pretty distinct. Their head is kind of like a hump right here when you see them and everything. The average lifespan of a parrotfish can be 5 to 7 years old. However, they have found some that have lived up to 20 years of a life cycle. Um, their size and colors can change over a year, and this is called sequential hermaphroditism, where individuals start life as females and then they later change sex to males. It's one of the most fascinating reproductive strategies out in the ocean out there. Um, Now a little bit about their diet. I have mentioned that they go around and they're eating that algae off of the coral. They're kind of gardeners of the reef, and this is good reason because they're eating that algae. They're scraping a little bit into that skeleton, the calcium carbonate, and everything. And they use their beak-like teeth to kind of do it. And a lot of times when you're out diving, you can kind of hear that scratching underwater. And you're like, where's that coming from? It's from a parrotfish eating some algae out there, and everything. So they scrape that coral, they eat the algae and everything, and they're using that beak-like mouth. But here's some interesting facts that many people don't know. So what they do is they'll eat all that. They'll eat the coral itself, and then inside their digestive system, the coral is grounded up, and then it's expelled as white fine sand. So a lot of times you might see the fish as it's swimming around after it's eaten poop out something that looks like white sand. It is white sand out there. And so the kind of little dirty secret here is parrotfish, they kind of create those white sand beaches that we like to lay on and walk on tropical islands. And that's mainly formed from parrotfish poop. And a lot of people don't realize that out there. It's about 80% of that sand can be made up of that parrotfish poop. And a single large parrotfish can produce hundreds of pounds of sand each year, a lot of times changing the seascape in helping even form entire islands out there. So now that you go out to Hawaii, you go out to the Caribbean and you see those white sandy beaches, you're probably never going to think of them the same. Sorry for that, guys. But it is amazing what these guys are doing out there. Everything. So keep that in mind next time you're out. Some other fun facts. Their tooth powder, their teeth are fused together right up front, and they're some of the strongest in the animal kingdom. And their throat actually has teeth inside it that helps to digest that calcium carbonate and break it up into that fine sand out there. So we don't really want to destroy these guys because they are critical. Because if that algae grows unchecked on the coral reefs, that will smother the coral reefs from getting the oxygen and the nutrients it needs to continue to grow. Because coral reefs are living organisms and everything. So we want to make sure we keep these guys nice and healthy as best we can and keep them in our waters and everything. A lot of times they do have a little bit of a social life, so you can see them swimming in small groups out there. And this is usually either when they're feeding together, or another thing that the reason they might be in small groups is they're forming harems, which is basically one dominant male that is actually protecting and guarding several females out there. So that's when you'll see them in the small groups. If you see that, that could be one of the main reasons that you're seeing that. They do have a diverse family. So I've highlighted a couple of them, but there is over 95 different species of parrotfish that are out in our oceans. So we do want to keep them healthy. We do want to keep seeing all those species thrive worldwide. Because of their colors, they're some of the most photographed and one of the fish that most divers really enjoy seeing while they're out diving. So overall, from their beautiful colors to their vital role in keeping our oceans excuse me, alive, parrotfish are more than just pretty faces out there. I know this guy has a beautiful face, doesn't he? So they're ocean engineers. They're helping sculpt the sand that we're seeing, we're walking on, we're swimming over and everything. So next time that you're diving in the tropics and you're hearing that crunching sound, think that's that parrotfish that is keeping our coral system out there clean and healthy for us to be able to view and see all the other sea creatures we love. So hopefully you enjoyed today's information about the parrotfish. I would love to hear your feedback, and if you have any fish species like before that you'd like me to cover, let me know so I can start my research and get all that information. Again, if you miss any of the weeks, you can find them over on Facebook. They are there for you guys. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next Friday with the next fish fact. Have a good day and a good weekend. See you underwater soon.